Welcome back to another clay video. Today, we are going to create Gigantamax Snorlax from Pokemon. You decided in the poll that Snorlax was going to be created next. There won't be a poll in this video though, since I've already started creating the next Gigantamax Pokemon. I'm cutting the base at this very random shape. I like this design a lot more than a perfect circle or a perfect square. Snorlax is really huge, so we're going to use some foil to bulk up the center of it. And this looks pretty good, so let's move on to coating it. The color of Snorlax is very strange. Depending on what picture you look at, he's a bit more green or a bit more blue, so I just went for sort of a middle ground. Now once we finally have it smooth, we can start working on the arms. And I always cut arms at a slant. I think it looks a lot better, and it's just a lot easier to attach onto the body. Snorlax is definitely my favorite Gigantamax Pokemon, and the reason why is that I love creating maps, and this Pokemon has an entire map on its stomach. And I think that makes it a lot more unique than the other designs of Gigantamax Pokemon. With these little spikes, we'll create the horns on top of Snorlax's head, or maybe they're the ears, I'm not actually sure. With the flattened down piece of tan, we'll create the stomach pad, and with the same color, we'll create the face pad. We need to cut this little triangle out of the middle of it. And the face of Gigantamax Snorlax is pretty much the same as a normal Snorlax, except it has some red eyes. That's really the only difference. Using some white, we will get these tiny little teeth to put onto the mouth. Using these two big chunks of tan clay, we'll create the feet. And we also have this little brown pad on the bottom of the feet, which you wouldn't usually see if Snorlax is standing up. Now, I feel like I use this method quite a lot in this video, but this is the method of creating the toenails and fingernails. I've baked these for 5 minutes, and that way we won't lose any details when we push them into the feet and into the hands. Now we can start creating the first grass layer on top of Snorlax's stomach. It has this little path that leads up to the tree, so let's cut that out of the grass. And on top of that, we have a darker green, and this one I've sort of just used this dotting tool to make it a little bit more jagged around the edges. And we'll cut a little bit of the path on this one as well. After smoothing that into the other grass, we can work on the tree. And usually I just use a big brown chunk for the tree, but for this one I wanted to add a little bit of extra detail. I'm cutting in these wood marks using a knife. And just like the arms, I like to cut the tree branches at a slant. It just makes it a lot easier to attach. Using the toenail method again, we'll create the little roots at the bottom of the tree. And let's get those roots into place. Using the same method again, we'll create these little pine trees on top of Snorlax. I think when you see how tiny these little pine trees are, you realize just how big Snorlax really is. They're pretty easy to attach since they're so small, it just takes a little bit of force to get them to stay up. I've also created a few rocks just to add a little bit more to the scenery. There's a line of bushes that borders the entire stomach of Snorlax, so I'm going to use this knife method to create those. It reminds me a lot of static grass, which is something people use when they make tiny dioramas. Let's get that into place around Snorlax, and any of the places that I touch or press down on, I can just stab a few more times with the knife and get the details back into it. Now this is the method I always use to create trees, so this will be the top of our tree for Snorlax, and we also have some fruits on top of it, which I think is really nice. It adds a lot more detail into the treetop. We have some red fruits on the other side. And when they show these fruits in the anime, they are massive. I'll put a picture on screen so you can see what I mean. Using some bright pink, we'll create the flower petals, because Snorlax has flowers that basically cover the rest of the scenery on the stomach. Inside of those, we'll take some yellow clay for the center. And we can move on to creating the Dynamax clouds. 3 of these appear around every Dynamax or Gigantamax Pokemon. And we can use some wires to hold it up in the air after we bake it. I've also created some rocks and bushes that we can put around the scenery, and maybe that will make it look a little bit less empty. Now Snorlax is ready to get baked. After baking, we can use these paint markers to add some berries onto the bushes. And we'll attach those on using some super glue. Now using a thumbtack, we can make the holes for the wires on top of the tree. And I've also painted those red using the paint marker. Let's glue those into place. And that is our final detail. So here it is, Gigantamax Snorlax from Pokemon. I hope you all enjoyed the creation of this Gigantamax version of Snorlax. If you want to see a playlist of all the Gigantamax Pokemon I've created, you can see that up here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.